Title: Whale of a Time? More like nightmare. 78 whales meet a grisly end in Faroe Islands. Cruise passengers watch in shock. TLDR. British Ambassador cruise line was left red-faced after its guests witnessed an unexpected slaughter of nearly 80 pilot whales in the Faroe Islands. The hunters, using motorboats and a helicopter, cornered the whales and brutally butchered them. Though the hunt, known as Grindadrap, is an annual event, it shocked passengers and highlighted the long-debated issues of tradition versus conservation and ethical tourism. Nothing says luxury cruise vacation like watching a sea of blood, right? Talk about a killer itinerary. The unsuspecting guests of Ambassador Cruise Line were greeted in the capital of Faroe Islands, Tórshavn, not by welcoming smiles but by the horrifying spectacle of a traditional whale hunt. A pool party, folks? No, more like a bloodbath. As the old saying goes, tradition is a guide and not a jailer. But how far can tradition justify a slaughter that leaves the sea crimson and whales' carcasses scattered on the shore? While the cruise line issued an apology faster than the speed of a harpooned whale, the company wasn't entirely blindsided. Their past collaboration with Orca, a marine conservation group, reveals their knowledge of such hunts, which apparently are as regular as clockwork in the Faroes. So, are they innocent bystanders or guilty of turning a blind eye? The company's statement tells us they're strongly opposed to these outdated practices. And yet, they sail right into the heart of the action. Isn't it like serving a vegan an all-beef patty at a Burger King in the Faroes? Yikes. But let's be fair. The folks in Faroe Islands aren't having these hunts just for the thrill of it. It's a centuries-old practice, deeply rooted in their way of life, providing food for the locals. Back in 1584, it was just 4 pilot whales. Fast forward to 2023, it's an astounding 78 whales in a single day. The hunt isn't just drawing the ire of conservationists. Health experts, with their beady eyes on mercury levels and other heavy metals in the whales, are questioning if the sustenance is indeed sustainable, or simply a ticking time bomb for the local population. While we must respect local customs and traditions, where do we draw the line between heritage and brutality? The question of whether or not to visit countries with controversial traditions is a tough one. Is our presence a tacit approval, or could we use it as a platform for change? Our friends at the Animal Experience International suggest that exposure is the first step to education. But is witnessing a bloody massacre really the kind of exposure tourists sign up for? So here's the big question, dear readers: should cruise lines like the Ambassador continue to include such controversial destinations in their itineraries, or should they follow Disney's lead and drop these ports like a hot potato? And even more so, should we, as travelers and global citizens, boycott places with questionable practices, or do we have a responsibility to engage and enact change? This article does not provide or suggest advice or recommendations regarding health or investments. The content herein is solely for information and discussion purposes. Turned Up News does not endorse or support the whale hunts nor recommends or endorses the practice of visiting or avoiding these regions.